I'm Belinda Luscombe. I'm an editor-at-large at Time magazine. And today we have for our 10 questions, veteran TV journalist Diane Sawyer. Diane, thank you for doing this. A reader from Chicago would like to know, were you worried that sticking with President Nixon during his resignation might hurt your career?
I didn't even think of it. No kidding, not a minute. I guess my reflexes have been trained by my father particularly, that you don't get to be there for the good times with someone and walk away, no matter how the times got bad and who caused them, that you don't get to walk away.
Quite a lot of people are interested in your time with Nixon, and a reader from Portland has a question. Could you shed some light on what it was like for you during the infamous Nixon interviews?
What you saw in the movie was not exactly my role as it was presented. Certainly not my clothes. I want to go back. I want to say to Ron Howard, where did you go? What thrift shop did you go to get some ancient, long paisley skirt? Anyway, we all think shallow, right? When somebody's finally put us on screen. But I thought the movie captured a lot of the mysterious dynamic that you're always finding out as you go through a series of interviews, like this one, for instance. By the end of it, you know, who knows what we could do. And after it was over, I think the president revealed very little of his feelings about them to any of us who were out there. He often went in a room, closed a door, and kept his own counsel.
We got a lot of questions from women, I guess as you'd expect, and a lot of them are about your career. So I've taken a few. This one is from Florida, a reader in Florida. Do you regret not having children? And when you were younger, was it ever a choice between your career and having a family?
Never that kind of choice. I've always thought that's a curious idea, that you have more time and therefore you decide to have children. It's not the way it happens. And I think of myself as a life filled with children. In my life, and intersecting in a different way, I have stepchildren whom I adore and I think depend on me some.
You'll forgive me, I'm hearing regret. Do you have regret about not having children?
No, what you're hearing is I wish I'd met my husband earlier. That would have been great. But I love his children with my whole life.
This is a question from a reader in Boston. Yeah. What has been the most remarkable event in your life as a journalist? The one that's made you feel, this is why I love being a journalist?
Every day. Pretty much every day. Is that obnoxious?
No, is it because of the variety or because of the access or because of the weird things you get to do?
It's because you don't know what you're going to learn. You're surprised every day.
Come on, every day?
Every day.
Because some days it's going to be like, you know, boring legislation passed and, you know, some celebrity got in trouble.
I'm sure it sounds horrible. I'm sure it sounds irredeemably happy and optimistic, but it's true. It happens every day.
And lastly, what is the weirdest thing you ever had to do to cover a story?
I made my way into the Russian White House in the middle of the coup attempt when Yeltsin was president. And no one was being allowed in the building. Everybody was outside. And I went up and the guard said women would not be allowed in the building at this point because it was too dangerous. And I said, I'm not a woman, I'm an American journalist. And there was a momentarily perplexed look on his face. And he said, okay. It worked. Sometimes a non sequitur is as good as strategy.
And then you're inside like, well, okay, what do I do now?
Yes, well, we made our way upstairs. I had interviewed Yeltsin once before. And we made our way upstairs completely empty. The tanks were coming around the building, if you remember that, when Yeltsin comes out and stands on the tanks. And we made our way upstairs, and I have to say he was profoundly shocked because we were the only ones walking into the building and into the room where they were making the decisions about what they were going to do. He was amazing. He just looked up and because he'd heard the reporting around the world, assumed that it was going to be a kind of cataclysm and that they were holed up in there and waiting to be fired on and go down with the building. And he just said, tell everyone we're not dead yet.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Diane.